All right, everybody. I have one of my outstanding clients with me, Mr. Fred. Fred, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
And I'm doing all right. A lot of times the people who go through our program, they're not familiar with the industry. You know, they may be truck drivers, they may be working in real estate, they may be teachers, things like that. But when you first, when I first met you, you were a little bit different. You've been in the industry. You actually went to school for sports management or sports marketing, correct?
Yeah, sports marketing.
Okay. And then you interned with a couple of other agents or agents in the past. And I'm curious, what made you want to join our program and work with us?
So I'd say just wanting to know those next steps.
Mhm,
Obviously, like I said, I went to Liberty University to get my master's in sports marketing and media.
mhm.
And the whole time I was going through that process of school, I knew I wanted to be a sports agent. It's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But I also didn't know necessarily what the next steps would be to make it official. Obviously, take the exam and stuff like that. Those are kind of automatically on the website we have to do, but the ins and outs of the industry and that next steps of okay, what can I do to get above everyone else who's just entering that space? Because I know I want to be behind on agents who've been in it for a long time. So what can I do to make sure that I have that edge like everyone else does who's already in the industry?
Nice, nice. And now I noticed that um you got in, you had a fast start. I mean, probably the fastest start I've seen from most people. Can you, before we even get into your success, I just want to, I know you talked about you was at Liberty. Can you just give a little backstory about, how did you even get to this point? What made you want to become an agent?
Yeah, so I have a bachelor's in government, but it was mainly because it was the classes I got the best grades in. I enjoyed it obviously, but I got the best grades in those classes. And then after school, I went into that field with my regular job, did some fundraising, some event planning, and stuff like that. But I'm a lifelong athlete. I played football since I was 6 years old, played basketball, ran track all the way up to high school till I went to college,
Okay.
and always had a strong passion for sports. But one way I stayed connected with it while I was continuing to work full time in my government job was coaching. And I enjoyed it, but it still didn't fit that itch that I had. I coached at the high school level. I coached varsity and JV football, and varsity basketball, or JV and varsity football and varsity basketball.
Okay.
But like I said, it still didn't fit that itch that I had of like reaching the highest level, reaching my best potential. Part of it was just because I was at a local high school that just limited talent, limited resources. I mean, I was just getting paid a stipend that the coaches were breaking off on a piece of me. So it just
Wow.
wasn't, yeah. So just high school wasn't at the highest level that I knew I could give my skills to and help benefit others as well. And so my college roommate and I know it's long-winded. My college roommate and I, we wanted to kind of get into the sports agent world a little bit coming out of college, but I would have had to go to Arizona State University to get my master's, and I'm a hometown guy, so I didn't want to do that. So while I was coaching and really wasn't getting the itch that I need, my full-time job really wasn't what I was passionate about, and so I looked it up again, like how can I be a sports agent? And I was like, dang, I gotta get my master's now. So I was like, well, should have started this when I was coming out of college in 2015. But I decided, well, shit, I'm gonna just go after it. It's what I want to do. I love sports. I know that's what's gonna happen. So I literally on March, I think it was maybe February 2020, I applied. March 2020, I started classes, and by March 2021, I had finished my classes and I actually got my degree and did the ceremony, graduation ceremony, in May of 2021. So it was about a year and a half process of getting to the point where I could even take the exam. Obviously, I applied back in February, but it took me a year and a half to even get to the point where I was able to take the exam. Because obviously, if I didn't get my master's, then I wouldn't have been able to take the exam here in
Right.
August. And
Right.
so, like I said, after I finished my master's program, I wanted to know what is the next steps. And obviously there was an exam, and you and I talked, and there were practice exams and materials that I knew would be extremely helpful. And going through that year and a half process, paying those fees, it's like I have no chance. I mean, no other option but to pass this test. So I'm going to try to use all my resources and all my networking to make sure I pass the exam. And then that's when I connected with you and kind of went from there.
You know what? It's amazing that, and I think I like how you said I wanted to maximize my network and use all the resources, because I talk to a lot of people who are in the industry, former trainers, former athletes. And, a lot of times we get, me included, we get to the point where we feel like we know everything. We feel like, oh yeah, I can figure this out. I don't need help. But you were smart enough to say, you know what? I want to tap into everything. I want to get as much knowledge as possible. And I'm curious, what made you get to the point where you, I won't say humble yourself, but just smart enough to know that just to be a student of the game and just to continue to learn?
I'd say a number of books that I've read,
Mhm.
which are a lot of leadership books, a lot of people who are also in the industry or also who have gone through similar situations. And no person in a leadership position has done it without having other people push them or support them. You can't do everything by yourself. Even as a professional athlete, like they have coaches. I hate when they say, "Oh, I don't need a coach." Like, yes, you do need a coach. Everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs somebody to tell them, "Okay, yeah, these are things you need to work on, and these are things that you might need to stray away from, or whatever it may be,"
Mhm.
because you can't see everything. You're one person, one minded. And so having other people build off of that helps a lot.
I agree 100%, man. And since you've gone through our program, I just want you to, what has changed for you since gone through our program?
So I'd say first change was me getting my registration here in Virginia, and then also starting my own agency. That's changed. And then after that, I'd say just building a network, and then getting clients. I have 3 guys right now. I started off with one who might not be like the highest profile athlete in the world, but his marketing abilities is out of this world. And
Mhm.
so we just started kicking it off as soon as July 1 hit, and have been skyrocketing ever since.
Wow. So also, you missed something as far as your NFL agent license, right?
Oh so that's also changed. Sorry. So I took the exam, which I studied. I'd say more than no person would probably work their 9 to 5 job. And part of it is because, like I said, I had no option but to pass. When you want something so bad, then you just work for it, and to the point where I'm not going to fail at this task. So that's what I did. Hard work never fails, and using your practice exams, using your study materials, just going through kind of creating my own as well to help study. Obviously, writing things down helps you memorize,
Right.
and putting things in your own words as well. And so using that process, using your resources, and then took the exam. Luckily, it was virtual this year, so I didn't have to travel to DC, save some money on that.
Right.
That's another reason I was like, I have to pass, because I'm not going to go to DC next year and take this again and have to pay. So taking the exam and then getting that email of congratulations. It took I think 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks before I got my results. So those 5.5 weeks were just walking on ice, kind of like, man, I knew I passed,
Mhm.
but I just didn't know until you get that email,
Right.
obviously, if that makes sense. Like I was 100% confident that I passed. I can say that now. I was 1,000% confident that I passed. I think it was only like 2 or 3 questions on there that I might have missed, or in my head that I might have missed.
Mhm.
And I wish they had showed me how many I got wrong and how many I got right, but it just said the congratulations. I got the email, and my wife was right there, and I was like, "Oh, I got it! Like, let's look." And I immediately started shaking, and I'm not that type of person, but I immediately started shaking. And she's like, "You want me to open it? You want me to open it?" I'm like, "Nah, I got it." And
Uh-huh.
man, just opening that email and seeing congratulations, it was just meant like, man, all this hard work that I put in for a year and a half, like this is the one thing I wanted to do, and now I'm here.
Well,
But the
hey,
work's not over.
oh no, no, we just getting started.
Yeah,
And
work's not over.
I'm excited for you, man. I'm happy for you, man. I love your energy. I'm just watching your growth has is it's been refreshing. And not only did you, you come in, you're not afraid to, learn. You're showing that you have grit, that you locked in for a year and a half. You study for this exam. You passed the exam. Not only did you do that, you sign clients, and like you said, not big time guys from, these, top 5 schools. You took a player from a HBCU, and I went to Virginia State. So you got the rival, the Norfolk State guy. You got a player from Norfolk State. And tell us, what you did for him, because that right there is amazing.
Yeah, so first I want to give a shout out to him because he's a great influencer. He's a great content creator,
Mhm.
and he's really big on social media. And going before July 1, I already knew, and we had kind of talked previously, but I had already knew that he was going to be like my number one guy.
Okay.
I just had a feeling, God kind of give you that feeling, and that was my feeling. And so we just had a couple conversations, and basically, breaking it down to him on the sense of putting it in his perspective, or me putting myself in his shoes, have been a college athlete, but also knowing what it takes in the marketing aspect, coming from that marketing background, being able to support him in that aspect of it, being there to answer any questions he has about NIL or anything he has about the brands or marketing in general. And then also just kind of that like sports management aspect of it. I mean, it's a career that he has basically being a social media influencer. Now, not to mention being a college athlete and with school and football as well. And so having all that on his plate and then being able to him to be able to have me on the side and be like, hey, I need to take this a little bit off my plate. Can you help me do this? Or him might not even having the marketing expertise or the business expertise quite yet of what needs to be done on that side of it as well.
Gotcha. And so I know that you secured some deals for him, or you guys are closing deals. What are some deals that you've gotten for him so far?
So, man, I just checked the list the other day. He has, or earlier today, he has a total of 37 partnerships that he's done so far. Yeah. It's some of the higher profile ones I'll say are like East Bay and Champs. He did a campaign with them, a social media campaign. Boost Mobile, he has a campaign with them, and then there's been a couple other like small companies as well. Hi Chew, his favorite candy. He was really excited about that. That was like a dream come true, getting sponsored by his favorite candy.
Right.
But just kind of, I'd say there's a lot of them. But I'd say probably the top ones are East Bay and Champs, and then Goat Fuel as well. He just worked with Goat Fuel, which is pretty cool.
Wow. And man, I just want to give you your flowers, because that is impressive, for him coming from an HBCU, just the type of effort that you put in to represent him, and what you guys are doing is amazing. That's why I just wanted to bring you on and just highlight you, give you your flowers, and say, man, just keep doing what you're doing. And I know you're busy, guys, so I'm gonna let you go, but I just have one final thing for anybody, who may be watching this video, who may be in a similar situation like you, where, they may trying to find different resources, or maybe they're on the fence about, working with us, or becoming an agent. What are some things that you would leave them with?
I'd say you have to be very, very dedicated,
Mhm.
extremely dedicated. And if you're extremely dedicated and you're willing to put in the hard work, then be willing to learn as well,
Mhm.
and go and check out the resources and the support that Checkmate Sports has, because without it, it'll be very difficult for you to try to jump into the sports marketing space having not quite of idea what to do, how to get started, best practices, and then especially if you want to pass the NFLPA exam. because there are a lot of other resources out there too. But, and they're all great resources. You want to explore all resources that you can. But if you really want to get a great, deeper understanding of the CBA and be well prepared, then definitely check out Checkmate Sports. And I also want to say too, it's also a partnership between, at least it should be, but with me and my athletes, it's a partnership. It's not like I'm, making him do all this stuff or forcing him to do everything. It's a clear partnership where it's him doing his part of it and me doing my part of it. And so also kind of go into the space knowing that you're not going to go in controlling people or trying to tell them what to do. And it shouldn't be the other way around either, of them trying to force you and tell you what you should do. It's definitely a partnership. And I want to give a kudos to all my players as well, because we have a great relationship and a great partnership as well.
Well, hey, Fred, again, I appreciate you for coming on. It's amazing to see your growth, to see this fast start you have. And I, I can't wait to see the next 5 to 10 years for you and see, all the great things you're going to do, man. All right.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, stay blessed, brother.
All right, man. You too. Take care.
Take care.